On today's episode, we'll talk about working with the onset dresser, the ZeeGee, The Last of Us, Barry, and of course, jumping out of a perfectly working airplane and falling from the sky. Just a little bit of business before we start. There may be a curse word here or there in this episode, so please listen responsibly. As always, our website, theop.io, is up and chock full of tips, tricks, and gooey operator goodness. Make sure to check out The Breakdown, where the best operators in the biz explain shots they have done, The Musings, where we discuss everything from quick tips to larger concepts of storytelling, the answers, the images, and so much more. I may or I may not take a break or two during this episode, but I promise that none of them will be longer than 22 seconds. Finally, if you are enjoying the podcast, please follow us, write a review, share us with your parents, and talk us up around the water cooler with your friends. So grab a beverage, sit back, and enjoy the op. Thanks for listening.
Lock it up, nice and quiet, and let's roll.
Rolling. Victor 30 Echo, take 2.
Hey, Mark. Hey, Mark.
And camera set. And action.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to The Op, the podcast where we talk about operating and the art of visual storytelling. I'm Dave Kamaitis, your host, and I am yet again very excited to be here and very thankful to be here. Coming to you from the Panavision Woodland Hills Theater because it sounds better than the blanket fort in my living room. I have a really great guest today, very excited. Neal Bryant, SOC, A-camera operator, Steadicam operator, guy who jumps out of planes, which maybe we'll talk about. I don't really understand that because... Anyway, some of the things that Neal has worked on. Barry, The Last of Us, where he got to work with Nick Offerman, which I'm so jealous of. The After Party, where he got to work with Ben Schwartz, which I'm so jealous of. Single Parents, Crazy Ex-Girlfriend. Wet Hot American Summer, I guess it's the reboot, which I'm so jealous of because the original was like part of my upbringing. And by the way, I actually lived across the hall at NYU from Michael Showalter, Michael Ian Black, and David Wayne. Although I'm not quite sure who lived in, because they were all there all the time, but I remember them from being in college. And as a second AC, just because I have to put it out there, a movie called Jersey Shore Shark Attack, which if you can see the trailer, it's pretty unbelievable. He's also sort of the reason that the ZeeGee exists as a thing, which hopefully we'll talk about. And that's about it. Neal, thank you for being here.
Man, what an introduction. Thanks for having me. I'm, you're a legend, so I'm stoked to sit down and chat with you.
Ask my wife. That's, by the way, Wet Hot American Summer, I did not realize that you worked on that. And, God, just like the original and the reboot are so unbelievably funny. Like, a better cast of people, I can't imagine.
I thought so, too. Like, I was such a fan of the movie, and that was like... first day of camp was like my first foray into TV, like episodic shooting, really.
Wow.
So that was kind of like a get for me at the time, and to also be like such a fan of
That's cool.
of the material, it was like an amazing experience.
That's amazing. So listen, tell me how you got here. What's your arc of your career?
Boy, I just kind of like Forrest Gumped my way into this.
Who didn't?
Like growing, I was born in 87, so I'm a child of the 90s. So like,
wait a minute, you were born in 87?
87.
Oh God.
Yeah, sorry to say.
The bottoms
36
of my feet
years.
hurt right now. Okay, go ahead, move on.
So being a child of the 90s, it was, that was like a great decade of films, and I was like mad about movies all growing up.
Remember any specifically that like just...
Well, here we go. So in 1999, we were living overseas in Saudi Arabia. My dad, his job took us, different parts of the world. And the way it worked there, we were like cut off from all sorts of like ad campaigns. And anytime you would go to like a real store and buy a movie, if there was, a certain amount of skin showing on somebody's arm, they would blur it out. If two people kissed, they would blur it out. They would cut entire scenes. So like,
wow,
movies were like incoherent if you went and bought them at like a proper store.
You're saying like DVDs?
I think these were tapes at the time.
Tape, but I mean stuff you brought home.
Yes.
So they had been like
taken
by
the
original.
government.
They had done. Oh, I didn't realize.
Yeah, and the government at the time, the
Censored.
Saudi Arabian government, like tightly censored everything.
Wow.
To their sensibilities. So the only way to watch like a movie in its unadulterated form was when we got takeout from like our compound cafe. This guy would have a plastic sack of pirated VHS tapes from China, where a guy in China had pointed a video camera at the screen and.
Oh, literally, bootleg.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah. So, and again, we're not seeing commercials or trailers or anything. So I'm just like, it's my turn to go down and pick up the takeout, and I'm thumbing through the plastic sack, and I'm picking out a few titles. And anyway, that night after dinner, I pop in The Matrix. And my 12-year-old brain like exploded, of the cinematography, the angles, the bullet time, like it just completely blew me away. And it was the first time I really realized, like, okay, people do this. It's not magic. Like someone figured out how to do this and made it happen, and like maybe I could do that. Yeah. So we move around a bit, and I'm making little backyard films. And I think I started on, I'm trying to remember what analog tape format I was using, but eventually graduated to mini DV.
Uh-huh.
And then we moved to southern Arkansas when I was 16. And at the time, I'm like, we're moving to the middle of nowhere. This is the end of my life as a teenager. And there was this brilliant teacher down there that had a vocational program, and he had gotten different grants. So in 2003, he had Final Cut 2 or 3, some Canon XL1 mini DV cameras, and a Steadicam Mini.
Oh, wow. Which was like something you wore, or one of the ones you held with your hand?
It was the precursor to the Flyer.
Okay. So, but it was a vest and an arm.
It was a vest and an arm. The arm was like, it was basically like a Flyer, the original Flyer sled. But the arm was literally like a Home Depot like lamp arm with a sock over it.
Okay.
Yeah. I think the big jump that they made when they introduced the Flyer was like the 2-section arm that actually worked.
Okay. Gotcha.
But at the time, as like a 16-year-old kid, having made like backyard movies where everything was handheld, it was like, or being limited to a tripod, it was this huge revelation of
Had you ever seen a Steadicam before?
I had no idea.
You didn't even know what it was?
No idea.
Okay.
I had maybe in like behind the scenes seen like a guy walking in this weird object like floating next to him.
But not knowing what it was.
But I didn't understand. Okay. Yeah. And so Steve Taylor is this teacher's name, and it's like, okay, I look at all these instructional materials, and he kind of teaches me what he knows, and now I'm like operating this thing. And it was amazing. He would like book us out as a crew. So we would go and work like conventions in Little Rock, or go and do like local sporting events or whatever. And he would pay us. We would each get like $100 a day.
Get out of here.
And so I'm like getting paid as a teenager to like do Steadicam shots, and then also like taking it out on the weekends to like make films. And that was sort of my, I absolutely fell in love with this thing. Mm-hmm. And then I got out of high school. I joined the union as a film loader, and had a couple of great years loading film before everything like boom went digital around 2008.
Yep. And
kind of messed around, shot a couple of low budget movies, and assisted for a while. And then in 2011, I was like, okay, I had kept the Steadicam thing kind of going in the background.
Did you had one, or
it was like I was using the Flyer after high school. He would still like let me use that. Okay. And then I had a Glidecam V20 for a couple of years, which had an arm and
like a Steadicam knockoff.
100%. Yeah, Steadicam knockoff. Yep. And then in 11 I got a Flyer LE and messed with that for I think 2 years, and in 13 I got a Master Series. And
so the Master Series, for anybody who doesn't know, is like a real Steadicam that you could use on a real movie. It was made by Cinema Products, right?
That's right.
Back then. Yep.
Yeah.
And that was like, at the time, that was kind of like the big deal, right?
I think so. I mean, I obviously was like a little kid when all this was happening, but I'm somewhat of like a Steadicam historian buff, kind of.
You definitely know more about it than I do. That's for sure.
Well, I don't know, but from what I understand, the Master Series was like CP's response to the Pro, and if you look at it in that context, it was like a colossal disaster.
Yes, unfortunately.
Yeah.
They went down a wrong road, I think. But, nonetheless.
Yeah. But I guess if I'm going to distill my story, it was like, I met the Steadicam as a teenager, and then did some soul searching of like what sort of filmmaker I was going to be. I ended up not going to film school, and was like, okay.
Was that a thought at a certain point?
I mean, sort of. It was like the fact that I was able to join 600 right out of high school as an 18-year-old.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
And I was immediately like on set loading with health insurance.
Were you on a movie that turned?
Yes.
Oh,
yeah.
So there you go. So for anybody who doesn't know, Local 600 is the union, the camera union, and if you're on a show that's non-union and it turns union, like they pick it or they make a deal or whatever it is, everybody gets offered. I think you have to join, or maybe you're offered to join. I don't even know.
I don't know. It was in.
Everybody joins anyway.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, you definitely should if you're
wow,
ever.
So you were in 600 at 18.
At 18 years old, I was going out. I had loaded some 16 for this one assistant that was kind of bringing me up. This guy Johnny Meyer. I think he's on the East Coast now. And then it's like, okay, now we're going to go do this 35 millimeter feature film. And we're going to teach you how to load 35, and it's going to be 30 something days or whatever, and you're going to work for free. And I'm like stoked.
Sounds good
as an
to
18,
me.
yeah. And so when the union came in and flipped it, I got not only did I get in the union and get paid for thereon, but I got payment for all my retroactive days that I worked for free. Yeah, it was amazing.
That's incredible. Yeah. Oh, that's fantastic.
Yeah.
And what movie was that?
That was a movie called War Eagle, Arkansas, which is it's a true story about this guy. Man, I haven't seen the movie in so many years. It's a true story about a guy who was like very talented baseball pitcher in high school, and he's wrestling with if he's going to move off and join the Go Pro or if he's going to stay and kind of take care of his family.
Cool.
Yeah.
So that's where you got it. So that was in Arkansas, I'm assuming?
That was,
wow.
yeah.
Probably the only movie shooting in Arkansas.
Yeah, like it's so, I was in Arkansas for 3 years, and that ended up like, it was mainly that guy Steve Taylor, but it ended up being like the greatest thing that ever happened. I don't think I would be sitting here talking to you if I hadn't been at that place in that time.
That's
and
so cool.
He completely changed my life.
That's great.
This guy.
That's amazing. Wow. And so then did you move from Arkansas out here, or?
I went to Louisiana for a couple of years because this was back. Well, no, I came out here in 2007, and then I went to Louisiana for a couple of years because they had just passed all their tax incentives, or this was in that realm where they had passed all those tax incentives and they were making all those movies. And then I came out here permanently in 2011.
Gotcha. And when did you actually sort of commit to becoming a Steadicam operator? What year was that?
2011.
Okay, so when you moved out here.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
And before that you were firsting and seconding, or?
I was doing whatever I could. I actually DP'd a couple of low budget movies in Louisiana. And that was a great experience because it showed me that like I'm really not interested in that, at least in this epoch of my life.
But that's a big part, actually, I think, of going down the road. Is sometimes you got to go down a road to go, I don't like this road, so you can back up and go somewhere else.
100%. I mean, I know I'm painting in really broad strokes and like connecting this to when I was a kid, but it's like, okay, I'm just like, as a kid, like passionate about filmmaking, so. As a teenager, I'm like, I want to be the director, and then, okay, well, I'm not really interested in that. It's visual storytelling. Maybe I'm going to be the DP. And then eventually that distills down into, oh, I like being on the floor with the actors, operating the camera. Mm-hmm. That was sort of my journey with it, you know?
So in 2011, basically, you start your start as a union camera. I mean, you're in the union, so you're starting as a union camera operator.
Sorta. I had a rough few years where it was like just going out on music videos and like taking whatever I could. And then it was wet hot finally in late 2014 that boom, I was now working on like union shows and episodic TV.
And you were the A camera Steadicam operator on that?
I was. Okay. I was filling in for Michael Bryant Hart. He started the show and he had to leave for something else.
Okay.
And they had been, a few friends of mine on the show had really been like pushing for me. I have to really give a shout out to Justin Duvall. He was the gaffer on the show, and he was really pitching me to Kevin Atkinson, the DP. But at the time, it's like, here's this kid with no credits, really. And when I got called, like, okay, we're gonna bring you in, I was like the third guy that week because like. Brian had left, and then they'd brought in a few people whose like names I don't even know that literally couldn't operate. So, but I didn't know that. So when I got called to do the job, it's like, you're the third guy this week. I'm like, oh my God, what am I getting myself into? And then I get there and it's like wonderful and funny and all these people are so friendly.
Oh, because you're thinking, oh, they chew through operators.
Yes. Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
And it ended up being this, amazing experience that kind of catapulted like the current, chapter of my career, I guess.
That's wild. So that was really the first time you were ever an A camera operator, yeah?
Yeah.
And had you done conventional operating before that?
Yeah. Here and there, but I mean, that was my first time like doing like a long form A camera operating.
And what was
job.
that like going in there and going, was there a B camera operator?
There was.
And did the B camera operator have more experience than you did?
For sure. Yeah. Frank Barrera,
Okay.
who's DPing now.
So tell me about the psychology of that, because that seems like it seems like you're like up against it on every level.
Yeah, it's horrifying. And I mean, for me, the way my mind kind of works is like I'm suffering from imposter syndrome all the time. I'm like,
you mean even now?
Even in this moment, I'm like,
you're wondering why you're in Panavision at this moment.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I'm just like, who am I? I'm just this guy, and I'm sitting here talking to you, and like, I'm just making it up as I go along.
Yeah,
and,
sure. We all are, though.
Yeah. I think because of that, it's like when I'm in a real situation where I'm in over my head, maybe it gives me a false sense of bravado because I'm just like, sure, I'm always
fake it till you make it.
Yeah,
yep.
I get. I mean, there were definitely at that. It was a great moment in my career because I had the skills that I think I hadn't had a chance to really like put them to use. I'd been honing them for years, and luckily that environment was a very supportive environment, and I was able to.
That's huge, right there.
Eric Zucker, EZ, the dolly grip.
Yeah.
Amazing dolly grip. He was incredible, and because I mean, I don't know what your experience was like. I was so comfortable with doing Steadicam. I was like terrified of the dolly when I first started doing like more complex dolly shots.
I don't know if I was terrified of the dolly, but I knew that if I was going to die, that's where I was going to die. Because the thing about it is like, you put the Steadicam on and it's like, all right, anybody here want to tell me what to do? Yeah, I thought not. But even if you're not good.
Right.
Right. But on the dolly, it's like, all right, everybody knows how to do this better than I do. So yeah, I get it.
And even more than that, it's like when you're doing Steadicam, aside from the focus puller, it's like you are moving the camera, you're operating the camera.
Yeah.
Now you hop on this machine and like you've got to talk to this other guy and he knows way more about this tool than you do. And so I always felt like, especially in the early days, like I'm a guest on this guy's machine.
Huh.
And how do I sort of translate that into like making like the shot that I want to make?
Yeah.
It was like the Steadicam's so like simple and not simple, freeing,
Well, if I want the camera to be here, I put the camera there.
Exactly.
It's that simple.
Exactly.
I don't have to think about anything else.
And now I sit on this thing and it's like, okay, we want to boom up, we want to slide left. Oh, bear with me. I actually want to pull back, And so that was like intimidating in the beginning.
So he was experienced, obviously.
Easy, the dolly grip. He's an amazing experience. So he really like kind of held my hand and walked me through.
Did you basically confide in him early on, like, dude, I'm in over my head, I need your help? Or did you try to sort of,
I think I probably had a little bit of a conversation. I can't remember. I must have said something like that to him. And maybe even a year later on Crazy X to Dwayne Barr. Because he's David Fincher's dolly grip. He's an amazing...
And he's doing Crazy Ex-Girlfriend.
Yeah, doing Crazy Ex-Girlfriend. and I'm 28 years old, and for a lot of it, I guess I sort of had the conversation with him in the beginning. It's like, we're partners. If you see something that I don't see, like I have definitely like a feeling of like what I'm trying to do, but I don't have an ego about where the ideas are coming from. Like, help me. And
is that a conversation you still have with dolly grips?
100%, or at least I try with dolly grips now. I try in the beginning to like, especially working with a dolly grip for the first time, make sure that like they're invested in the story as much as I am, and have as much like emotional stake as I do. Is like, I don't know if I don't know what I can say here. I feel like I see operators sometimes living on a dolly with a slider at 90 degrees and just like keeping overs with the slider.
Mm-hmm.
And then the dolly grip back there is like on his phone or
his
watching the game or whatever. And I see that when I'm doing A, I see B camera doing that from time to time.
Yeah.
And then I have seen in the past, like somebody that's just been living on the slider holding overs. Well, now they wind up on like an 8x8 piece of dance floor doing some like complex 6-point move, and they're like tripping over each other trying to make it work because they haven't built a rapport.
Yeah.
He's been like asleep back there while you're on the slider.
Yep.
So I'm sort of against all that. I'm not against like sliders, but like I want to, help the dolly grip help me and like make sure he or she is like just as stoked on the shots, and you were always working with personalities, and some dolly grips want to be there more than others, but I would say like next to the focus puller, at least in the trajectory of my career, like the dolly grip has been the biggest ally that I have.
Well, and weirdly enough, now, I mean, the dolly grip's with you, whereas the focus puller is no longer with you, and nothing against them. They kind of can't be in a weird way because of how technology has changed. But if anything, it's more so than it used to be. I mean, it used to be that I was physically touching the AC sometimes, that's how close, but it's not that way anymore, right? Did you ever shoot film where, as an operator, okay, so you had people on the knob.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a different world.
It sure was. Yeah. I was on something I can't remember where we were doing like a tracking shot that was just tracking parallel with someone doing like a bunch of stunts, like running and jumping and crawling, and we're just matching speed with them. And it was late at night, and the focus puller came up to the dolly and was like, "I'd like to ride along with you guys." And the dolly grip was like, "This is crazy. This is ridiculous that I'm pushing two people." Like threw a little bit of a fit, and I'm like, "Bro, this is what it was.
This
like,
is what it was
until,
for 50 years.
Yeah, until relatively recently."
Yeah, that's pretty funny.
Yeah.
Now, so you really didn't work a lot as a B camera operator then?
Not a lot, and it's something I do occasionally. Like the last show that I really did before the strike was Barry, and I came onto that as B camera.
Yeah.
But I definitely have more experience as an A camera operator, and I think of myself more as an A camera.
Is it weird? I mean, Barry is sort of its own thing, which I definitely want to talk to you about. But is it weird being the B camera operator and sort of having ideas, but having to sort of put them in the right context and realizing that you're not, like, is there a shift?
I think for me it sort of depends on who I'm working with. Like when I was B on Barry, Don Devine is the A camera operator. I'm like trying to be like a sponge and just watch like everything that he's doing and soak up. And I'm like, wow, like I'm getting paid to like watch him work. Did
you find that your sense of humor was drier after watching Don Devine?
Man, honestly, like his episode with you, it was just amazing listening to you guys like crack jokes. I'm like, wow, I'm not going to be near this.
That episode, by the way, is, I don't know, it's like 2.5 hours long or something ridiculous. It could have been 3 if I left everything.
Wow.
We had a very good time, including, by the way, a point where, and maybe I should have left this in, a point where our new rescue dog bit him. Yeah, the dog came over like really, really slowly, and I was like, "What's going on?" He's like, "I don't know." The dog just bit. I mean, not hard. He was fine, but
oh my god,
that was pretty funny actually.
Oh man,
sorry, Don. No, but Don is look. Be camera to Don. I told him on that podcast, and I'd do it in a heartbeat. I'd be camera to him any day. The guy's just unbelievable. Yeah. So did you learn a tremendous amount from him just watching him? Because like that's not a big 2-camera show.
It's
right?
It's not. So and I was sort of, I don't know if warned is the right word. I was warned by Carl Hersey, the DP. He's like, it's a very single camera show.
Yeah.
It's very rare. I can probably count on one hand like the amount of times we did 2 cameras.
So really, you were there for Steadicam.
I was there for Steadicam, or the odd, go ahead and set this up, and we'll leapfrog across and be efficient. So I was like, cool, I can use this as an opportunity to kind of just hang out in the wings and be a fly on the wall sometimes.
Is that what you did?
I did a lot of that. Yeah. And it was amazing. I'm trying to think of like specific lessons that I took away from watching Don, but I mean, he's just got this like quiet confidence about him in that he knows like what the shot is and he knows how to implement things to make it work, and he just makes it look so effortless.
It's really he's incredible, and the amount that he knows and his knowledge base is just incredible.
Which is really like the biggest compliment I could give somebody. Like for me, like when I'm doing a camera, I feel like it feels like the whole time I'm wondering how I'm looking to other people, and I feel like I might look like a chicken with my head cut off, but I'm trying to like slow down and think. And so when I see someone else just calmly like making it happen, it's cool.
No, there's no question about that. So let me ask you a question about that. As an A-camera operator, how do you see you fitting? I mean, there's some people who talk about A-camera operators running the set, which I actually have a little bit of a problem with because it's not my job to run the set. But there's no question. I understand what people are saying. You know, you're intrinsically part of that. So like where do you see yourself in that whole, you know, complex machinery and working with the AD and working with the DP and working with the director? I mean, every situation's different, but conceptually.
Yeah. So I try to be very adaptable. I try to, you know, be able to change kind of how I'm attacking a situation. I think we all do, you know, to a certain extent, depending on the personalities you're working with. Most of 90% of this job, maybe more than 90%, is working with people and juggling personalities.
And reading the room. I mean, that's a big part of it, right?
Reading the room, my goodness, yeah. I wish someone could have like sat me down and sort of said those exact words, like, you know, when I was 20 years old.
Same here. I had no idea that was like, you know, such a big part of it.
Yeah.
Because you're constantly, do you have any things that you do like when you start a job to sort of try to figure out who's an ally, who's not that anybody's against you, but there are some people you can rely on, some people who are going to be problematic, you know.
Well, I mean, for me, I think of myself like the Blob, you know, from the 1950s, where it's like if you keep me in a jar, I'll stay in the jar. If you open the jar, I'll fill the room.
Okay.
I'm in the room. I'm contained until you open the door, and then now I fill the. You know,
I like that.
I'll basically, whatever they're asking me or whatever the situation's asking me, I'll try to just like adjust.
You'll adjust
my presence, my on-set presence to that. Dale Vance Jr., who's a wonderful, amazing Steadicam operator. I went over to his house, I think it was either the night before I started Wet Hot or the night before I started Crazy X, because I was really nervous about going in and doing the A-camera. Uh-huh. And I'm like, Dale, what do I do? And this has really stuck with me. He says, when you get there, just pretend like all these people are your best friends, that you've known them forever, and you're all working on a little passion project and nobody's getting paid.
That's really good advice.
And
try not to sweat.
Yeah, but it's like, boom, like, okay, I'm here to just try to help. I'm here to help however I can. And I'm, you know, there's the things that we're basically doing the same thing every day to a certain extent. It's like, okay, here's the rehearsal. What's the shot? We're going to lay track. And while we're doing that, and I'm sort of talking to the key grip and the gaffer and figuring it out, I'm looking around and always listening to like how the DP and the director are talking to each other. How does that actor respond when the director gives them a note? Like reading the room and figuring out like, okay, I really need to be careful how I approach this person, or this person's very approachable. I can, you know, they can be in the foxhole with me. I feel like that. Ideally, that's all something that comes to me like within the first couple of days. You know?
Yeah. No, that's a great. Do you have a situation where it's all clicked versus something where it's just you're fighting it every day that you can compare? Have you had a situation where you're like, this is chaos and I'm having to fight to do my job every day?
I certainly have. I mean, I did a low budget movie. In it might have been early 15, called Officer Down, about a zombie police officer. It's like based off a comic book where they send him out on these impossible missions and he gets killed and they just bring him back to headquarters and resurrect him.
That's great.
Yeah. But the director was trying to make a movie the DP was trying to make a different movie.
So they weren't. They
and the
weren't playing well
producer
together.
was trying to make a different movie.
Oh, wow, the trifecta.
And then I'm in there trying to A-camera with Steadicam, and that was gnarly.
So was it literally like, hey, do this, and then one of the other one, no, don't do that.
100%.
So what do you do?
I'm completely open. I'll be like, well, this dude just told me this. You know what? Let's go talk to him.
You get everybody together?
Hey, everybody, come in. Let's have a conversation about this.
Yep.
I try to just be completely open and honest about like, hey, I'm afraid, because the biggest moment in that movie that comes to mind was we had a guy doing like a crazy ratchet like wire pull where he's getting pulled through the air.
Yeah.
And we're like tracking with him. And it was a simple enough idea, but like I literally got 3 different notes in a row, like one thing from the director, another thing from the DP, another
Totally
thing from the
separate
producer.
shots.
Completely separate. And so I tell them like, hey, I don't have enough information. I'm confused. I don't know what to do. So let's all get together and like help me. I try to approach it from a fact of like, from humility from my perspective. Like I don't have.
I'm the problem, not you guys.
Exactly.
Yeah. No, that's actually a big thing that comes through from more people than all is especially working with actors. Like if an actor's not hitting a mark, it's just like, hey, I'm really having a problem here because I can't hold you over there. What can we do to help me? And you make it your problem. But I think that's a really important thing of what you said is you bring everybody together.
100%.
Because then, I mean, it's a little nefarious, but then it's like nobody can say he said and she said, and you can all go, no, we're all listening together.
Yeah.
So let's figure this out.
Yeah.
And in a situation like that, and I bet you probably did this, but what I would also do is go, look, we got a guy getting ratcheted through the air. We don't want to screw this up, and I want to make sure everybody gets what they want. So what are we doing?
100%. And I mean, and to me, that is one component of like running the set.
Yeah.
Like, in a sense, you hope that the leadership on the set is coming from like the director and the DP and the AD,
And that they're in
and that they're in
together.
sync.
Yeah.
But if there's a vacuum, or if there's static, that's where I'm like, okay, I'm the blob. I can fill this vacuum, or I can help connect these pieces. And
Yeah.
I mean, for me, like, I sort of try. I came to a point where I was like, okay, this is really hard to realize that not everyone is going to like me, because I like to be liked by everybody, and my goal is to like get a rapport with as many people on the set as I can, so that when there's something really challenging or when I need help, like I find people are more willing to come to my aid if I'm liked.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
No, there's no question about it. I mean, that's just common sense right there.
Yeah.
But what about working with the AD? You work closely with the AD?
Oh yeah. And the second, like in terms of coordinating background, and
Yeah.
that was a huge thing when I did Crazy X and a few subsequent shows with Charles Pappert. He taught me so much on like how to use background to motivate it. It could be a background artist like way deep in the background, way deep back there, and they're just crossing right to left, and that's helping to motivate your pan.
To motivate your moves, yeah. Charles used to be a Steadicam operator, now a great DP, and you were lucky to be learning from him because he knows so much.
Yeah. There were a few years there where we were really working together a lot.
And Crazy X, because of the dance numbers, there must have been a ton of that, right?
That was amazing.
Yeah.
It was an amazing experience because I think it was 7-day episodes for a 1-hour show.
Oh, that's an hour show?
Yeah, so 40 something minutes with commercial.
Okay.
But 7-day episodes. But each episode would have like 2 to 3 musical numbers.
Oh wow!
I only did the first season. But there might be days where you would shoot all of your dialogue scenes in the morning, and then do the musical in the evening. And so that was we did some really fun techno crane stuff, some like long Steadicam shots. It was a great experience.
That show looks like it's just a ton of fun, and it's hysterical.
Yeah.
And were most of the dance numbers completely orchestrated as far as your shots, or was there freeform stuff in there?
There was a lot.
Figure out on the day.
I'd say there was a lot of freeform stuff. Like there were things that were very specific and shot listed, but like I'll never forget this one. The song is called "What'll It Be." By Santino Fontana is the guy performing it, and that day, I think it was one of those where we were supposed to do all of our dialogue in the morning, and then we had our whole like after lunch period to do this musical number, and I can't remember. I think we had some dolly shots in mind and a few steady. He's just mostly sitting around at a piano. It's a very like somber, like Billy Joel type of thing, and anyway, we ended up going way over lunch with all the dialogue stuff, and so we're going into this musical number with like
not enough time.
I don't know, an hour or two left in the day.
Jeez.
And Charles had basically like lit it to a point where everything was 360, and it was the only time working with him that I can remember where he literally was like, just go in there and make magic happen.
Yeah.
Because he's so specific generally about what he wants, which I love.
And that was because it hadn't been designed, or because they realized what they had designed couldn't be done.
Yes.
With the time. It was more sort of, we got a punch.
I think it was like, we're just going to have to go in and make lemonade with the time we have.
Yep.
And so I just basically, was doing like these slow wraparounds and then coming around the whole room, and just did a few passes where it's like, okay, we'll just run through the whole song on the 24 and then the whole song on the 50. And Rachel, the showrunner, was so happy with how that turned out. She like got me a gift certificate for a massage the next
great.
week. Yeah,
that's always a
like
plus
a really
one.
nice one.
Yeah.
I was like,
that's
this is great.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
Do you listen to the songs ahead of time in that, so you know them?
Big time.
Oh, you do?
Yeah. Like, they're like whip pans that are timed to specific
but so
musical cues.
you get it at the beginning of the episode or something? Or?
Yeah, or maybe it might even just be like the night before.
Yeah.
But that was really cool because I think I mentioned before I had done a lot of music videos, low budget music videos, where I would show up and they'd be like, get out there and do the Steadicam thing, which is like a terrible note to get. But like, if you're just starting out, you're really trying to cut your teeth. It's like, okay, I'm getting like paid to practice kind of.
Absolutely.
And I'm feeling, okay, the music's swelling. I'm going to push in, and here's this explosive, drop where I can pull back. It's like, so I sort of took those sensibilities to this show.
Yeah.
That really helped.
I remember very specifically because I used to do these horrible low budget rap videos and hip hop videos and like Christian rock videos and just, things that at least I would normally not be listening to. I don't think a lot of people ever heard. And I would get the tape and I would listen to it for like 4 days straight, and my roommates would be out of their minds because they were just usually really bad music. But it was the kind of thing where it's like, okay, so here the drum beat kicks in here and whatever, and then when you get on set, it's like, oh, okay, now I know what's coming.
Yeah, and if you're doing something really intricate, I would say it may be even easier to follow music than just like dialogue.
Absolutely. Yeah. Unless you're like really well-written Aaron Sorkin's kind of stuff, which becomes its own music.
Yeah,
But yeah, agreed. Because you I'm not a musician. Are you a musician at all?
No.
It's fascinating to me that I can have any kind of rhythm with a Steadicam because I can't dance, I can't play music, can't sing, but there's something there, and so when there is that music, you get, even if you don't understand like 4/4 time, you're like, okay, I know, like the organ just came in and now the drum's going to come in and then whatever, and you can be ready for something. Yeah.
And when it is more, when you're in more of like a freeform scenario with the Steadicam, sometimes I'm like starting to arc around. I'm like, okay, maybe this time I'm gonna speed up. You hear a part of the song coming, and you start to get an idea. Like, okay, maybe this can be a little spicier when I wrap around. It's really fun.
How long were you the 8-camera Steadicam operator on Wet Hot American Summer?
I did the 2 seasons. So I guess I did maybe half or more than half. I can't remember.
Which is like 8 or 9 episodes or something like that.
Yeah.
So basically, that's 6-7 months, 8 months or something like that?
No, they were really short.
Oh, they're really short. Okay,
yeah,
gotcha. So it's a couple of months. Anyway.
Yeah, and David Wayne, shoots the whole the whole thing like as one giant episode, basically.
And then, but the reason I ask is because you went in there and you really weren't an 8-camera Steadicam operator, but now you are an 8-camera Steadicam operator, or that's where you're being asked to be. Was there a point where you were like, oh, I got this? Or that you felt comfortable?
Well, there was a lot of time between the 2 seasons.
Oh, so, they were separate. Okay,
yeah.
Gotcha.
So when we came back for 10 years later,
Yeah.
a year or two later, I was like way more confident for
Gotcha.
sure.
Okay. But do you remember then, you went from that to Crazy X?
Yeah.
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 I
think so.
what I'm trying to figure out is, like, at what point in your career did you go, I can walk onto a set and be an A-camera Steadicam operator, and I got this?
I don't know that I've yet reached that point.
Me neither. Yeah.
But I will say, Crazy Ex-Girlfriend, working with, mainly that was my first show with Charles Pappert, and I was such an admirer of his Steadicam work and what he had done with Key and Peele.
Amazing stuff with Key and Peele.
Incredible. So the first thing we ever did on that show, it was with a Steadicam coming over some it was in the office, and it was like sliding across some foreground like copy machine and filing cabinets, and then sort of converging with these two characters as they come out of the elevator, and then it just becomes like a simple walk and talk. It might have turned into like an over at the end. I can't remember. But a simple enough shot. But it's my first day, I'm on set, Charles. So at the time, here, let me rewind a little bit. So I had my master series.
Okay, so the Cinema Product Steadicam that you're talking about.
Yeah, which it could hold a big, heavy camera, but it's a mess compared to like the rigs that
had some issues.
It had some issues. Yeah. And I could make it work. And to any DP or director, it was a totally workable thing. Yep. But I was doing all these things like wrapping like a Vectran line around the camera rods and down to my monitor rods.
What's a Vectran line? Vectran's
like a polymer cable.
Okay.
We actually make parachute lines out of it, but it's like a shoelace that is like stronger than a steel cable.
Really?
But it's bendable.
So you were doing that to like keep everything tight?
To stop vibration.
Stop vibration.
Because the master, if I like stomped my foot, it would like.
Oh really? I didn't know that. Okay.
Oh yeah.
All right.
Anyway, so Charles was like, okay, I'm going to bring you onto the show. Don't show up with your master series.
Really?
Yeah, just don't bring it. And
because it looks so like junkyard?
Know. I don't know.
Or okay, whatever it is.
Whatever his reasons were. I was like, yes, sir. And so what I did was I put in an order. The M1 had like just been announced from Tiffin.
The Tiffin Steadicam. Yeah.
Yeah. And so I put in an order with them, and Dan Ikeda was so wonderful. He was like, we don't have it ready yet, but you can just like take another rig.
He's someone who works at Tiffin.
He did at the time, yeah.
Gotcha.
And he was like, here, take a loaner rig.
We got you. Yeah.
And that was what I did like the first like couple of months of Crazy X with this loaner sled that was a Shadow, I think, at the time.
Yeah.
And then it was so rad. In October, they Dan and Jacob Hawk, who also is not with the company anymore, they came to set with the sled and a case, and we did like, they were just like, all right, here you go. And I like sat down and like wrote the check like on the set, and we waited for like a B camera only shot. We didn't even wait for lunch. It was like, okay, we're gonna do this insert with B, and I just like flipped over to the M1 and then came in with the M1.
That's cool.
So that was a cool.
That is very cool
memory. But but when now fast forwarding, so doing that first Steadicam shot where I was sliding off the foreground filing cabinets, picking up the two people out of the elevator. I'm like so nervous because I'm like, here Charles is like giving me this opportunity, and am I going to screw this up? And we do the first, we rehearse with second team, and then we bring in the actors, and I don't even think we did a camera rehearsal. We just shoot it. And right after the first take, he comes out from the monitor and like pats me on the back and says like, off to a great start. And immediately I was just like, because I built it up in my head to be this like big thing. And it's like, no, you have the skills, you're ready.
That's great.
You can do this.
That's great. And and how long have you been doing Steadicam now? Or how long have you been a camera Steadicam operator since?
14, I'd
years.
say. So no, so since 14, so 9 years.
Oh, 9 years.
Yeah.
Are you still nervous when you go on set?
100%. Yeah. Oh yeah.
Nervous. I'm not going to be able to do this. Nervous. What?
Nervous that I'm not going to be able to, for whatever reason, give the director exactly what they're looking for, or I'm not going to understand the material as well as I should, or I'm not going to gel with someone on the crew, and they're going to we're going to sabotage each other. I don't know. It's like the jitters the night before. A lot of it is irrational. I'd say 95% of anything I've ever done, I've had a pretty positive experience on set. It's like it's almost always everybody just wants to like do the best work they can and go home.
Yeah.
Even knowing that, I always get nervous before the first day, even if it's people that I've worked with before.
Yeah.
That's just me.
It's just the unknown.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. I don't think that ever goes away. Well, some people it might. It doesn't go away for me. And then as you get older, you're like, you get a whole new set of nerves. It's like, oh God, are they going to ask me to run upstairs?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
all that
yeah.
kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Or hey, I'm going to go back to work at some point, but I haven't had a Steadicam on for a year. That's not going to help.
Right.
So that's yeah. So tell me about The Last of Us. That must have been a wild ride.
It was. It was amazing. It's probably the in terms of like greatness, it's probably like the greatest thing I've ever been a part of. Like, I was a huge fan of the video game.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not like a gnarly video gamer. I play casually from time to time, playing more video games now that we're on strike. But basically, if I could describe the Last of Us video game to someone who doesn't play games, it's like reading a great novel. Like, you're so invested in these characters.
Even in the video game?
Oh my God.
Really?
Oh my God.
So video games have gotten better than Pong, is what you're saying, because I'm still on that.
The Last of Us video game tells a story that's better than a lot of movies.
That's amazing.
It's an incredible and I think the effort that was made in the show was to try to adapt that to a TV show as cleanly as possible.
Yeah.
Like they're really, especially the way the ending comes together. I don't know how you improve on that. It's one of the most
ending in the
effective,
video game, you're saying?
And the show.
And the show.
It's one of the most effective. Like, people have been debating that ending for 10 years, and I think they will continue debating it. It's a perfect story, what's told in that first game. So I was a huge fan. And I knew it was being adapted, and I, was like, oh my God, I would kill to do that. But I mostly work in comedy. I wouldn't even know where I would begin to reach out to somebody to try to get on that show. And Eben Bolter, BSC, brilliant DP from the UK, he had brought me in to do, after COVID, the personnel deck was really shuffled. Like, people were just taking, when things went back to work, people were taking whatever they could.
Yeah.
So Eben had shot a movie called Night Teeth, a Netflix vampire movie. That's a very like LA movie, but they shot all these interiors in New Orleans. And then they had a few weeks that they were going to do in LA to shoot all the exteriors, all the freeway stuff, all the, And but they wrapped their New Orleans unit right when the pandemic hit. So Orlando Duguay, very talented A-camera Steadicam operator, he was not available for the LA portion. So he threw my name into the ring, and Eben and I met on that in late 2020. And had a great time. At the end of that show, Eben was like, hey, I never work in North America. This was fabulous, but, have a nice life. I don't think, who knows? Yeah. But then like less than a year later, he was like DMing me on Instagram, like, hey, do you want to go to Canada for a year for The Last of Us? I was just like, what? Like,
wow. Knowing you were a fan, or just totally randomly?
I think totally randomly.
Wow.
I think I was like the guy that he knew in North America at the time, and
that's cool.
We gelled so much, and he was one of, there were several DPs on the show, but I think he was helping with a lot of the hiring, and really fought for me to do it, and I owe him hugely for that. That's great. It's funny because I had that TV show
I have zero interest in what that TV show is. I was like, yeah, this is not my thing or whatever. But then Charles actually was telling me, you really should check this out and see what Neal's doing. And I was like, all right, whatever, I'll watch it. And I watched, I think, the first 2 episodes, and I was like, this is a really good TV show.
Oh, man.
And your work was spectacular on it.
Thanks.
Yeah, it looks like it was a really hard show and a ton of fun at the same time.
Yes, it was. I mean, again, like, so I have to, give a lot of credit to Craig Mazin,
Who is
the showrunner.
Okay.
He adapted the screenplay, or adapted it to television, right alongside with Neal Druckmann, the creative director from the video game. But Craig's scripts, like, you can actually read the script for episode 3. Episode 3, I mean, you could almost call it like a bottle episode.
Episode 3 is the one with Nick Offerman, right?
Yes.
Yeah, which is a brilliant episode.
Man.
I mean, the fact that they tackled what they tackled in that show,
Yeah.
it was like, what?
Yes. Yeah. And that script is available. You can go to like Deadline and read that script.
Were you surprised when that came out and you were like, wow, this is not what I expected? Because I'm assuming that's not in the video game.
Well, yeah, the character Nick Offerman's character Bill is in the game, but it's a totally different. Frank is like already dead when you get there. Bill's still alive.
Right.
So without getting too into the nitty gritty of the story, like Bill's character sort of serves as this mechanism for Joel, the main character. In the game, Bill's like a warning of like, don't turn into this bitter guy.
Gotcha.
And in my opinion, as a viewer, what they did in the show was he still works as a mechanism of like, hey, look what's possible
Yeah.
if you open yourself back up to love.
That was
And
incredible.
I thought so.
Yeah.
And I remember reading that script. I was in Hawaii on another job, knowing that I was going to have to leave that and go to Canada for Last of Us. And I remember reading the first few scripts, and when I got to episode 3, I was just like, oh my God, we're going to do this?
Yeah.
Like, I can't, you know how it is. Like, a lot of times you're working on something and like, the script is pretty good, and then it's like the actors that really bring it up, or the visionary director that brings it up. It's like when you start with like an amazing, when you're like, choking up, like reading something on a page.
I can only imagine, yeah.
And then you put those actors, and then you get that director. It's like...
But there's also a weird thing, for me at least, when I read something that really is unbelievable, it's almost like, oh God, I hope they don't stumble. You know what I mean? It's like the bar is set so high. Whereas when I read something that's okay, it's like, all right, this could be interesting. And then you get some great actors. It's like, oh, this really has potential. Like it grows on itself, Whereas if you go in like hoping, and then sometimes it can be hard because you're like, oh, I didn't think it was going to go this way at all. But that's clearly not this episode.
No, and I would say that even for the whole season. Like we were so fortunate. I think Craig is a genius, and Eben, along with Ksenia Sarada, she's really like the primary DP on the show. Mm-hmm. She had such a vision of like, if you notice, like if you watch the show, like the camera never really moves independent of actors. It's a very like subjective sort of thing. There are very few like push-ins. It's almost always like a camera like locked.
The actor moves the camera as opposed to the camera moving on its own.
Yeah. And she, in the first few episodes, like really set a tone for just this like intimate, sort of honest, I don't want to use the word documentary, but it's, you could almost, but it's like, we're just in the room with these people. Mm-hmm. And for me, it's that was a good exercise in discipline for me, because I'm coming from a place of like trying to offer big camera moves and like what can we combine and how can how much more interesting and tasty can I make this? But like that show was very much not about that.
It was about the story. It wasn't about the camera.
Yeah,
which everything should be, but sometimes it gets blurred.
Yeah, but it was like we're just here, like we're really bare bones. At least my experience was like we're really bare bones, and we're just trying to be there for the actors and capture what's happening in front of the lens. And
so how does that change mentally how you approach it?
I mean, I guess I gotta say, this is going back to me being like the Blob. I sort of think of, sounds crazy, but I sort of think of myself like an actor, in that I'm always going to bring my own instincts, like I am who I am, but it's my job to really like read the script, hopefully get inside the director or DP, really get in their head of like what they're trying to do. And then I'm trying to internalize that into my own instincts. So that could be something as simple as like, I feel like everybody has sensibilities about like headroom in a frame. And, I really had to flex that muscle of like meeting a new director or DP and them having different headroom sensibilities than me. And I'm having to like really beat that in. And I think as I gain more experience, it's now as large of a thing as like, okay, the whole visual style of how we're tackling this. Like, yeah, I have my own feelings about what looks good, but it's like, what does the story call for? And you as a filmmaker, what are you asking of me, right? To deliver, to help your vision. So I really I feel like I'm rambling. I really consider that as like a big part of what I do.
Yeah.
So on that show specifically, it's like talking to Ksenia in prep. It's like, okay, this is what we're trying to do. And so we're locked to the actor. The actor's moving the camera. We're just a simple handheld camera, right in the actor's face for the most part. It's like, okay, how can I internalize that and get so excited about that?
Yeah.
And kind of leave all my other things behind.
Well, I think what you do is on every show you sort of like create the parameters that you're shooting for, and you try to push all the other things out. Every show's a little different that way.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. And I think at the end of the day, it's like, that's what we do. Like, to me, or at least I am there to be as excited and helpful as I can be about the film or show or commercial or whatever that they're trying to make.
Yep.
And the less I can make it about myself, and the more I'm just trying to support them, the better and better of a time I've had personally.
That's great. So you were talking about this being handheld, but it wasn't handheld, was it?
Well, a lot of it is. So
Okay.
Ksenia on her episode, she does season 1. She did 1, 2, and 7. She likes to operate.
Oh, okay.
And she's a great operator. She shot a movie in Russia. She's Russian, called Beanpole. That is just like a devastatingly sad, effective movie. And from what I understand, it was a pretty small movie, and it's literally just her hand holding an Alexa Mini. For like the whole thing, and it's totally a work of art. And I remember watching that leading up to the show, and like, oh wow, I'm going to work with her, and she's going to do this. So the understanding when I was brought on the show was like I was the A camera operator, but when Ksenia came in, she would operate the A camera.
Gotcha.
And I was more than fine with that. And so for a lot of the show, like whenever I was doing the A camera, I would use the ZeeGee.
Okay.
And
can you just tell people what the ZeeGee is? Because most people probably don't know.
Yeah. So the ZeeGee is taking a handheld camera and putting it on a Steadicam arm. That's the simplest way I can describe
Without
it.
the whole Steadicam, that gimbal and all that stuff. Yeah.
So, if you're listening to this
I'll post
podcast,
I'll post something along with it. You don't have to go too crazy with it.
Okay. But I mean, basically with a Steadicam, you've got a sled. It's like a pole with a gimbal, and it's calming down all the angular errors of an image. So when you have the tilt axis or the pan axis or the roll axis shaking, the sled is taking care of that.
So it basically allows it to look like a dolly shot.
Yeah.
And wherever you walk, hopefully.
Yeah. But then now you have the fact that you're attached to a human, and you're going to feel footsteps when an operator walks. So that's what the arm takes care of. The arm lifts the sled, and then it works as sort of like a shock absorber and takes your footsteps away. And then you have a vest that takes all this weight and attaches it to you and allows you to carry it. Those are the basic components. So with the ZeeGee, we throw the sled away, and we put this ZeeGee on the arm. And so now you have the ergonomic benefit of the Steadicam vest. It's very comfortable. and the arm is, lifting the ZeeGee for you, but the arm is also taking care of your footsteps. So I feel like most people that have done a lot of handheld work, handheld means such different things to so many people.
Yeah.
I did a show that you mentioned called Single Parents. That was a ABC sitcom, and what they wanted, this was early ZeeGee days, by the way. What they wanted was long lenses, very long lenses, handheld, lots of camera movement, not too shaky.
Which is basically, for anybody who's not a camera operator, those things don't add up together.
Yeah. Like it's like dividing by zero. Like it doesn't compute.
It's exactly right. Yeah.
So when I worked on the pilot with Blake McClure, ASC, he's a very talented DP. But it just so happened that I did the pilot and the show with two different DPs. It just kind of worked out. It wasn't like a plan. But on the pilot, we were using like dollies and bungee rigs and all these like elaborate things to try to deliver this look.
Yeah.
And I had the ZeeGee prototype that I had used on like little Lifetime movies and things over the years, and always got a positive response from it. So then when I was called to do the show, Tim Gillis was the DP, and I immediately pitched the ZeeGee to him. I'm like, look at this thing. I can go super long lens.
Yeah, look at what I can do.
We can move, and I can season it to taste how shaky it is, because the arm is going to take care of. So it's a bit of a conceptual hurdle. Like the ZeeGee, it's not a stabilizer. It will look handheld. It will look shaky, but it's now just giving you, as an operator, more access to how you want that handheld to
and
look.
also you can go from low to up high, which
That's a
is
huge
more
thing.
so than just on your shoulder. On your shoulder, you're limited with your body. Right?
Yeah, that's a
Where
huge
your
thing.
body
And there
is.
are other rigs, there's the Walter Klassen slingshot,
Yep.
which is great, but like not doable for doorways.
Yep.
So on Single Parents, we had Brad Garrett, who's like one of the funniest guys I've ever been on a set with. I don't know how tall he is.
Oh, Brad Garrett, who was on
Everybody Loves Raymond.
Everybody Loves Raymond,
Yeah.
and I've worked with him. I'm 6'4". He's got to be 6'8" or something like that.
He's stupidly tall.
He's also large like a man, which I'm not.
Yeah. So with the ZeeGee, it's like I've always tried to say, like, if you're somebody coming from handheld, I guess you're more used to your high mode being limited by the height of your body.
Yeah, you got it on your shoulder. If you're 6 feet, that's where it is. Yeah.
But sort of I think Charles' frustration back when he was operating, when he prototyped the
Charles
ZeeGee.
Pappert.
Yeah. Charles Pappert's frustration was, well, now, okay, I can boom up over my head with a Steadicam.
Yeah.
I have this freedom with this other mode of camera. Like, why don't I have this with a handheld?
Why can't I get there with handheld?
Yeah, and so that was sort of the genesis of the ZeeGee from what I understand.
And so, because we've glossed over it a little bit, this is actually a gizmo that Charles built in his garage, I guess, right?
100%.
How long ago?
In 2010 or maybe 2009.
It was an idea. I remember him vaguely talking to me about it, me being like, yeah, what? Okay, yeah, I guess it's interesting. And I remember sort of seeing it, and I remember going over his house and seeing it like sitting in a corner.
Yeah, well, that's what
somewhere
happened.
with like the cats running on top of it or something like that.
I met him for the first time to buy some old brackets or whatever. He'd already moved on to DPing, and I think he was trying to get rid of his last little bits and bobs. And I came over there and saw this thing sitting in the corner. And I'm like, what is that? And he's like, oh, it's this idea I had to do this. And I'm like, well, can I buy it from you? And he's like, sure. And I immediately started taking it out. Like, if ever there was ever a handheld shot on a lot of these like Lifetime movies I was doing at that time, I would like bring out the ZeeGee. And like even then on those little small shows, like it was like blowing minds. It's like,
Really?
okay, I could just cleanly boom from like the floor over my head and it still looks handheld.
And it wasn't even the ZeeGee. It was this thing you bought from Charles that was in the corner.
Right. There are all these other
Yeah.
things that people were, people on set were calling it. Camera Labro was, I think, my favorite.
That's a better name, actually. Camera.
But on Single Parents, I'm like, literally operating over my head with Brad.
Yeah.
Someone who's way taller than me. So that was something on a show like The Last of Us that was a solid year, basically, of handheld. It's like there was a lot of ZeeGee. Sometimes it was the Ergo rig. I feel like when you're doing handheld for that long, it's like you're shameless with whatever tools you can lean on to
Yeah, 'cause
just physically get through.
It just takes its toll on you.
It 100%.
Especially. I mean, the big thing about handheld for me always is it's not the weight; it's that all of the weight is on one side of your body, and
100%.
you end up literally becoming sort of like curled over.
Yeah.
So at least with the ZeeGee, it's putting it out all around. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So because there's a lot of great sequences in that show, but there's a great sequence in episode 3. Where the guys have broken in, there's a fire going on, and you're running downstairs, and he's looking out the window, and you're running out the door, and whatever.
Yeah.
That was all ZeeGee?
That's all ZeeGee.
Yeah. I'll clip that out and put that in the post on the podcast so that people can see it, because it's worth looking at.
Oh, thanks.
It's really cool. And it could be done handheld, but it wouldn't be the same.
Yeah, I mean, at one point, once we're out of the house, we're in like a full sprint. And I know, at least from Peter Horrer and Eben Bolter, the director and DP of that episode, there was a big concern on that shot in particular, because the whole lighting of the show across all the DPs, at least for me as an observer, I thought that it was very naturalistic. Mm-hmm. Like, there's just fire out there.
Yeah,
they don't want to do
middle of the night, and there's just big flames going because they're burning down
He's like setting off these traps that
that's right.
Light the guys on fire. And other than like the occasional lightning strike, there's not a lot, and it's raining. So.
Oh yeah,
I think it's pouring rain, so I think the fear.
Actually, I remember thinking like, this is really cool, and I'm so glad I didn't do this because of the rain.
Oh yeah,
wuss.
Oh man, the stuff later in the season where we're in feet of snow, like.
Oh yeah, that's right.
But I know there was a concern from Eben that like a camera on a shoulder when you're in a full sprint at night with it raining, are you even going to be able to tell what's happening?
It's just going to be motion blur all over the place.
And with the ZeeGee, I can, during the sprint, calm it down enough to make that a little more where you can see what you're looking at. So
that's great. That's great. Just because I have to ask, is Nick Offerman as cool as I want him to be?
He's amazing.
Good. I'm so happy.
He's amazing. There's a moment from there. So in the beginning of the episode, he's digging these I forget what you call them, deadfalls, these traps where you have like a 10-foot deep pit and you just cover it with a layer of
and someone walks on it and,
and they go right down in the pit. Yeah. And that's how
because he's like the survivalist dude who's protecting his compound.
So this is in the opening montage when he's like setting all that stuff up. And I did a shot handheld standing in the bottom of the pit looking up as he covered it up and boxed me into like total darkness. And I'm just alone in this pit, looking straight up. And on film on camera in the dailies, he's looking down in the pit, and then he does the last like bit of mud to like put me in total darkness, and then leans in close to the microphone and goes, "Fuck you, Neal."
That makes me happy.
Yeah, he's a great guy.
Have you ever read any of his books?
No, I haven't.
You should read his books. He has his first book, which is called Build Your Own Canoe, is sort of his story and his philosophy of life. And I'm not one to go, oh, I want to know what actors think about life. I mean, everybody has something about life, but whatever. It is so good. And his story is so interesting, and he is such an interesting guy. And he's got that whole woodworking shop in East LA where he teaches like inner city kids how to do like hardcore cabinetry and stuff. He's amazing.
He is.
Everything I've ever read about him is just, and his second book, I think it's the second book, is called Gumption.
Oh, wow,
and it's
great
just
title.
about like great Americans in history who have just had like balls, basically. It's really good. Yeah, so I'm very happy to hear that.
I'll tell one more story.
Yeah.
When we wrapped him, it was on a Friday.
And just so anybody who hasn't seen the show, he was just in that one episode. It was like
that is correct.
He was there and then he was gone.
Yeah,
so
it's sort of a. It
wasn't like you worked 6 months with him.
No. Yeah, it was a few weeks.
Yeah.
When we wrapped him, it was a Friday, and so we did $5 Friday, and the crew on the show was like huge. I mean, it was a huge show. So the $5 Friday was like massive, and it was I think one of the biggest that we had on the show. So Ashley and the AD team had said to Nick, like, you go in there and you get my ticket. You pull my name out. It's blue.
Oh, yeah.
Find it.
I want to win because I
it
want
was
to
a
win
bunch
all the
of
money. Yeah.
multicolored Post-it notes.
Yeah.
So Nick walks up to this huge, Rubbermaid bin and is like rifling his arm through there. And he looks up and he says, "Ashley, you said it was blue?" and pulls out a blue Post-it and unfolds it, and it's her name.
Oh, my
so
gosh.
I think he's just like a magic person, basically.
That doesn't surprise me. That's
Yeah.
great. Did it stand, or did people?
No,
did people
it stood.
scream?
Yeah,
Okay, there you
yeah.
go. That's fantastic. And what about? Talk to me about working with actors, since we're talking about Nick Offerman, but you can talk about others. I mean, how do you approach working with actors? Because every actor is different. More so, not how do you approach working with them. How do you approach figuring out what they need from you, or what you can do to work with them well?
Yeah, I try to listen. I mean, it's as an operator. I mean, we're in usually a pretty good place. We're usually right there. Just a few feet from them. So I'm sort of watching like how they interact with the director. I whenever there's like a moment, I don't just like walk up out of the blue and introduce myself, but whenever I have like a moment to like introduce myself by name, I can take a lot of social cues on like how they respond to me introducing myself. And I try to just be very present and like always paying attention.
Mm-hmm.
I think if I'm just like there and constantly, not like a big presence on the set, but if I'm like a steady, I'll put it this way, on a TV show, like, you may have alternating DPs, directors come and go. And a lot of times, they're like 100 yards away in a closet somewhere, and it's
The director or the DP. Yeah.
They're back at Video Village,
Yep.
and it's like, as the A-camera operator, a lot of times I think of myself, and I'm not trying to sound like this is coming from a place of hubris. I try to think of myself as like the last like arm of the director on the set. Mm-hmm. So I'm there like literally like holding his or her frame in my hands, right? So that even like extends to the actor. It's like I'm always a presence there representing them, and I could, if I'm on comms with the DP, I can like if a question comes from the actor, I can like quickly relay it. I just try to like always be there, mm-hmm. and then I feel like I can sort of develop like an unspoken rapport where we're building trust over time. I don't know if that makes sense.
No, that makes a lot of sense. And actually, one of the things that you touched on, which is totally accurate, but I don't think I've heard before here, is you're actually, especially TV, like you said, DP and director coming and going. Director might be there only once and never come back. Sometimes on some shows nowadays, it's like you'll have two DPs, but then like something will happen with another unit and some other DP will come in for three. But you're a level of stability for the actors where they can go and just like, okay, this is but but Neal's here.
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah,
we're good.
Yeah, I think we can represent like a constant.
I think there's something to that. And again, it's not an ego thing. It's just sort of like, no, that's what I can offer this situation.
100%. And I have a lot of respect for actors. I can't. I've never tried it, but I can't. It looks like such a difficult thing to do to like constantly be in the moment like that. And anytime I've like tried to have a think of like what their daily life is like the makeup people are so important to their like how they start their day. Yeah. You know what I mean? So and the props, the props person. So I'm always thinking like, okay, there's this core group of like crew members of like people they interact with. Mm-hmm. And as the operator, you are definitely among that like close group of like helping set a tone of, I think a big thing we're trying to do is just help create a comfortable environment where they can do their best work.
Yeah, no, that's exactly right. What about, do you sort of make sure early on you introduce yourself to hair and makeup and props and et cetera, et cetera?
I try to meet everybody. Yeah. I try. I will even like, on a day where we have, more than a few background, like I will even, if I'm asking something of a background artist, I'll try to like learn their name and use their name. Mm-hmm. I have pretty good short-term memory. I have the memory of a goldfish when it comes to long-term memory. So somebody I've worked with on, however many years ago, sometimes somebody will be like, Neal, and I'm like, hey, help me out.
See, I'm the opposite, because by the end of the day, I'm going like, yeah, I know you're the props guy, but I can't remember your name. And it's not disingenuous. I just have a block for names. It's terrible.
Yeah.
It's absolutely terrible.
I have a terrible memory, but on the day I tend to when I'm firing on all cylinders I tend to do okay.
What about working with the onset dresser? Tell me about that.
That's a huge. I can't believe I didn't touch on this earlier. That's a huge part of what we do.
Why? What aspect?
the first thing that comes to mind is like building foreground. Oh my God. Like, setting a wide shot, and obviously every shot's different, and you want sometimes like a wide symmetrical shot that's just totally sterile and there's nothing in the foreground. But generally speaking, like almost every wide shot I'm building, there's some sort of foreground I'm trying to put in. And there's a really like art to that, like in how creative they can be, and hey, I'm really looking for this kind of shape, and what can they pull out of their kit or like go shop the house for. That's a really like artful thing.
Do you ever have this situation where, because a lot of times nowadays, I don't know about you, but it seems like there's only one on-set dresser, maybe they have an assistant, where there's just too much that needs to be done, and you know that this has got to happen and they're doing that, and you don't want to lose out on something. Do you ask them? Do you start to move things and then say, hey, I did this? I mean, it's weird because you don't want to do anybody else's job. And there are some people I've run into who are like, I don't want you touching a single thing on this set.
Yeah, I will always, if it's that sort of a fast-paced environment, and more often times than not it is, I'll always go to them first and like, hey, in the event of, in the heat of battle, do you mind me just reaching out and tweaking something?
Yeah.
And usually they're okay with it. I'd say it's rare in my experience where they're like, don't touch it. Not that I haven't seen those people, but I'd say more often than not, people just want to get it done and go home.
Yeah.
And not to say I'm going to reach out and like organize and arrange a whole thing, but if I need to reach out there and like tweak the pillow like 2 inches to the left, I try to get a rapport with them where I can do that sort of thing. The other thing is like, when you're working on the onset dresser, like especially on a fast-paced TV show, just getting ahead of turning the camera around.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, as soon as they say we're moving on, like that desk has got to go, getting them on board early of like, sorry to tell you, but like this desk, this sideboard, the chair, like it's all got to go.
Yep.
And that's got to happen first so that, you're in a small room. It's like playing a puzzle game. Like, okay, the sideboard's got to go. Then the dolly can move. Well, then the other, then you can redress the other side of the set. And so even when we're like getting ready to turn around, I try to have that conversation with them so that when the call comes to move on, they can just jump in and
I think that goes to what you were saying before about building allies. Is like the more you can, because they may not always be getting that information, so you just pass it on. And then normally what I'll do in those situations is as soon as we're ready to turn around, I'll turn to the first AD and go, okay, so here's what needs to happen. We got to get this dolly out of the room, then we got to get all that stuff out of the room. So if we can clear everybody out of here, then these people can do their jobs quickly. And okay, great. Now they have, like, everybody understands, what's going on. Because sometimes the first AD, of course, well, they may know that, but they've got 6 other things going on, and it just sort of sets the table. And then it shows the onset dresser, like, I know what you're up against. I'm going to try to help, like, give you your time so you can do your work, and then we can do our work. It's a weird thing. But what I have found in the past is when I see that there's too much work for the onset dresser, I'll go up to them early and go, so I just need to know how to proceed here because you're overwhelmed and you don't like to. Are you okay if I have to tweak something or whatever, if I go ahead and do it as long as I tell you what I've done, because I know you have to reset it? And 9 times out of 10, they're like, look, if I'm available, I'll do it. But if not, you know.
And I think that's great advice, having that conversation early.
And some of them go, I don't want you touching anything. And you're like, okay, then we're going to have a problem because it's not your fault, but there should be 2 onset dressers and they don't have them. And they'll realize that. I mean, the other thing that I fight against is I kind of grew up on ER. And on ER, there was like, there were vials and bottles everywhere. And we just tweaked and because, they were always doing something else and whatever. And Ricky and Rick were the two main, well, they were props guys, but, I can't think of who our onset was right now. It's escaping me. But they kind of did it anyway. But it was sort of like, just let me know what you did. So I don't put something back and then wasn't there. But yeah, it's all about that communication and that trust, and I think that it is. What if someone were to ask you what the difference between a good operator and a great operator is?
Oh, man.
Come on, putting you on the spot.
Holy crap.
There's no right answer.
Yeah.
But if you figure it out, I want to know so I can become a great operator.
Yeah, right back at you. There's definitely the technical side of what we do,
Granted.
Everybody's got to be able to, hop on the wheels and, nail a tilt up or whatever you have to do. The gnarliest one of the worst sounding notes I ever heard from a DP talking about another operator. Was I was like, oh, you worked with so and so. How was it? Oh, he was good, and the Steadicam shots were okay, but like the instincts aren't there. And I'm like, ooh, that's a rough one. That's way. I'd rather you'd be like, yeah, your horizon's all over the place, than like the instincts aren't there. But I think there's a part of it. There's that like unknowable thing of like the speed of a pan and how you're like feathering off the end of a pan to like settle into something based on the emotional volume of the scene. You know what I mean? Like understanding it. I feel like I'm talking in circles, but like for me, what I sort of look up to and the ideal that I'm always striving for is like, how well can I understand the material and be part of the vision that the director is trying to bring to life? It's
storytelling, right? It's understanding storytelling.
I'll tell you one of the worst things I ever heard.
I hope these weren't about me.
No. I heard a director say about a DP one time, there's no storytelling in his camera work. Oof. Like can light a pretty picture, but that there was no storytelling like because they operated their own camera. And I'm like, woof, like that is a rough thing to,
No, it's absolutely, I mean, hopefully it's not accurate, but that is, but look, it comes down to, and I say this about dolly grips, I'll say this about camera operators, I'll say this about focus pullers. If you can land a frame, that's what's expected. I think what's more important is understanding why you're landing the frame.
100%.
Or why you're landing the frame that you're landing.
100%.
And it's the same thing with the dolly. You can move to A to B, I expect that. I need you to understand why you're moving from A to B. And that has to do with timing, that has to do with speed, that has to do with intention. I mean, all that weird stuff.
Yeah.
But
I think we have to make, we're part of this machine where we have to make people feel something.
Yeah.
So whether they're laughing or crying or whatever it is, like, and if there's no emotion there, it's a zero, right? So like you're saying, it's like understanding so that everything is happening with intention.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's chaotic. Sometimes it's a handheld camera and we're running backwards and we don't really know what's happening, but like even that achieves like an emotional response. I don't know if I'm making sense.
No, that's dead on. I did a show years ago that I won't name with a director that I'm also not going to name, who was a very big feature director who had come into this TV show and was just like, Mr. blah, 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 blah. And I was day playing. I was B camera, steady cam for someone, I don't remember what. And it was 3 people sitting around a campfire. And A camera had this wide shot. And I said, what do you want from B camera? And the DP was like, just whatever this guy wants. And I went over and I said, you want something from B camera? He's like, nah, I don't care. I'm not going to use it. You shoot whatever you want. And I went over to the DP and I said, am I cool to see everybody? And he goes, yeah, it's fire. So I went over to the AC and I said, okay, here's the deal. On this line, we're going to start here, and then I'm going to ease over and we'll find that person, then come back, and when he lifts this, we'll go for just set something up, because it was like, whatever. And we did it, and the director came over to me afterwards and he said, that was really cool. And I said, oh, thanks. And he goes, but the interesting thing is you weren't following the dialogue. Like, you weren't always looking at who was talking. And I was like, yeah, because like there were other things going on. And he goes, yeah, that was the cool part. And I remember thinking like, oh my God, why are you a big director? But he clearly was sort of like head scratching of why we made the choices. And I'm like, because that's where the story is.
Yeah.
But anyway, whatever. It was, that's the thing you do, is you try to just find the story. Right?
Yeah.
And you're constantly, especially as a B camera operator, you're trying to go like.
Well, B camera can be super fun. I mean, especially when sometimes you're in the corner on a long lens, but even that is like, hey, look at what we found. Here's this cool unexpected thing that,
My favorite thing in the world is, as an A camera operator, to be setting up some unbelievably massive shot and then look at what the B camera operator is doing and going, why? I don't even think I should roll.
Yeah.
Like, that's the shot right there. And as the B camera operator, it's the greatest thing, because like everybody's focusing on something else and you're like, we're just going to slide in here and grab this tasty little bit right here.
Yeah.
And it's fantastic, because it ends up like you've just elevated the show.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what it's all about. It's great.
And I've definitely, especially in comedy, done my fair share of, I don't want to say it's like red and blue camera, but where like you're cross covering and A has like a slight, if it comes down to I can see your matte box, well, I can see your matte box too, bro. It's like, okay, well, as the A guy, I can say, all right, scoot to your right, But other than that, it's like we're basically on an even playing field. I've done shows like that, and in a scenario like that, like that's so important that you and the other operator are on the same page and you're not, at each other's throats.
Do you find that there's stuff that's Crazy Ex-Girlfriend versus the Last of Us, two totally different shows, two totally different styles? Do you find that there's stuff that only applies to one and only applies to the other, or is it still all the same sort of like toolbox that you're pulling from?
No, there's definitely stuff that only applies to one or the other. I mean, I think just like working in comedy and especially visual comedy, where like the timing of a camera movement or the timing of a pan is absolutely going to like make or break a joke.
Okay.
That is such a technical
You're part
skill.
of the punchline almost.
100%. And I would say, I don't want to say this in a bad way of like you're painting by numbers, but there's literally like a mechanical thing that's occurring
there's no
that's
question.
like selling a joke.
Yeah.
And there's like a technical aspect to that.
Yeah, and if your timing isn't dead on with their timing of the delivery of the joke, and because at the end of the day, like your pan is the ba-dum-bum.
Yeah, exactly.
And
exactly.
whereas you're saying on The Last of Us, it's like there's more, not, I don't want to say room for error, but there's more sort of like, there you go, that's it.
Sure.
Yeah.
That, on Last of Us, there are all these moments I can think of where it's like I'm watching what's happening with the actor. I'm handheld. Oh my God, we didn't even talk about it. Like I'm gonna start pushing in. Like I need to just lean in 6 inches, and I know the focus puller's like there, and he's ready to respond
Because the moment just calls for it.
Yeah. I there's a totally different skill set I think I used on Barry, because that show is one of the funniest things I've ever seen on TV, but also had some, like, especially in season 4, had some like devastatingly dramatic,
oh my God,
gut-wrenching moments.
And by the way, Barry, every episode of that is like film school.
I think so too.
Bill Hader has got to be one of the most impressive filmmakers I've ever seen, because from what I understand from Don is that he's an auteur. I mean, it's his show.
He's definitely operating at like a genius level. Yeah. Like he'll come in and be like, okay, I want to do this. Here's this 4-shot of these guys talking. We'll just get a 2-shot of these two on the other side of the room.
Yeah.
Don't you need to cut to the other two across the desk? No, I'm never going to use it.
Never going to use it. So he sees it ahead of time. He's a visual guy, obviously.
100%. And my sort of revelation working on that was like, okay, it's amazing to work with somebody like this that has such a clear picture in their head, and they're so pragmatic about what it is. It's not like precious. It's like, I had this idea for this thing. Well, that doesn't really work that way. He goes, oh, okay, well, what about this? And there's a pragmatism where he's not necessarily tied to the original idea. It's like, okay, here's something else that's in the same spirit, whether there's a wall in the way or I don't know if I'm making sense.
No, absolutely. I mean, Don had such insights into that. I talked to him. He did a breakdown actually of that dolly shot inside the house. It's a remote head shot where Henry Lou Winkler and I don't know the other gentleman throw the thing through the window and come in. And I remember when I was watching that for the first time unfold, I was like, this is brilliant filmmaking.
Yeah.
Because of what you see on camera and what you don't see on camera and what's suggested on camera, and it's all one shot and it plays brilliantly. And honestly, that scene, which maybe I'll post in here, hopefully by then I'll have put Don's breakdown of it up, there's no other way you could tell that story as well as the way that came out.
100%.
It's great.
And what I'm sort of getting at is like, or what I'm trying to get at is like, yes, we have Bill for that, but also the network is invested in him, and they're giving him the mobility, the freedom to do that.
Nobody's looking over his shoulder.
Yeah. And what a miracle that is, in today's world.
Well, and the thing that I love about that show is I watch that show, and unlike almost anything else that I've done, maybe with one or two minor exceptions, there's nobody else who could make that show and it be what it is. That is it is his mark and his vision, you know?
Yeah.
And it's just, the other shot that I've gone back and watched several times is there's that shot where Hank and the other guy that he's with, I forget his name.
Oh, Cristobal.
Yeah, Cristobal. Are getting all the bad guys together, and they're at like Chuck E. Cheese or something like that. And it's that shot in the center of the table that's panning around with them and panning around with them.
Yeah, Dave and Buster's.
Dave and Buster's. And then at one point, Hank gets out of sync with it, and he has to run back through the shot.
The other way.
And Don told me that it happened as an accident, I guess. And then they were like, we got to put that in. That's pretty funny. It is so genius.
Oh, my God. The lady, like, the server shows up to ask if they want, like, jalapeno poppers.
That whole sequence is... But again, the whole show is just... It's so brilliant in the way that they shoot it. What a joy to be a part of. Like, I remember actually when I saw your name, I was like, Neal gets to be a part of that. That was an amazing experience, I'm sure.
It was. I definitely... I love the idea of the Steadicam being so precise that you can't tell it's not a dolly.
Yeah.
So that's like always what I'm striving for. And my Steadicam on Barry season 4 was definitely like an exercise in that. It's like I was warned ahead of time, like, hey, Bill's not a huge fan of Steadicam because he wants everything like locked and perfect.
Yep.
You know, that show is a lot of like, we're going to be locked here for like a minute, maybe 2 minutes. Then we're going to get up and move, and we're going to go across the room, and then we're going to sit down and lock for another minute.
Absolutely.
And the Steadicam isn't the best tool for that if you have like a remote head nearby. But then other times, like the space you're in, whatever dictates, it's like the Steadicam might be the only tool for that. And Barry was a great chance for me to like flex my precision muscles, I guess you'd say. Like, you know, I use a Volt. I have a Volt, so... On that show, I basically had it like turned up to the max.
And the Volt, so anybody knows, is like a digital stabilizer thing on the Tiffin Steadicam.
Yeah.
That gets your horizons out of the way.
Yeah. And then can also like lock in your tilt axis to an extent. And I am somebody, this is going to get into really nerdy Steadicam stuff, but like I have always loved lots and lots of hand inertia. Mm-hmm. So almost... Unless I'm doing like a bunch of whip pans, like my monitor and batteries are always like crazy spread apart.
Yeah, which just basically makes everything more stable as you're walking.
It's like a figure skater. You know, when they bring their arms in, they spin really fast. They throw their arms out, they slow down. It's the same kind of idea. If you're trying to do like ultra precision dolly-like moves, and then on Barry, what I wish I'd figured it out earlier in the season. What I started doing toward the latter half of the season was putting some antlers on my base, so it was like augmenting what my monitor and batteries were already doing.
So it's basically like two weights that come out to the side,
spread,
like you said, the figure skater holding their arms out.
Yeah. So that with the Volt cranked up to the max, it's like, you know, there's a lot of technique there, especially if you're doing like a slow move to not feel like every footstep. But I'm really like leaning on the tool as much as I can for it to help me.
Yep.
And you know, I think once I like showed like a level of precision that could be achieved, we started using the Steadicam more and more in the show.
Well, that's more of a kudos to you then, that you actually, you know, took someone who wasn't a fan and they said, oh, well, this is...
Yeah. I mean, I'm not trying to say
I know
it
you're
as
not, but
kudos
you should
to me.
take it. That's great.
But
and that said, my guess is there's more Steadicam in that show than I realize there is. Because it doesn't look like a show that has a lot of Steadicam.
Well, yeah, that's the ultimate dream for me. Like I really get like bumped a little bit when somebody's like, "Oh yeah, you know, I don't want like the look of Steadicam," and I'm like, "What does that mean to you? Does that mean swimmy horizons and weird footsteps, which is just like square one operating? You shouldn't be doing stuff like that? Or are you talking about more cliche Steadicam stuff like booming for headroom as opposed to tilting? What are you really talking about here? Because I feel like the tool was such a universal like like it's such a genius thing when Garrett first invented it in the 70s. It's like, who could have even imagined that it would have had the legs that it's had? And we're in this interesting time where like all these remote heads are coming up, and like that shot that Don did of the breakdown in a bygone era, that might have been a Steadicam shot.
Oh, absolutely.
So I think a lot of people are asking themselves, like, where does this tool like fit into my filmmaking, especially as things get like more sterile and more precise.
Yep.
And I don't know, I feel like the tool is not getting as much kudos as it could, or I feel like it's more versatile than people might give it credit for. Like I'm not trying to toot my own horn here, but I know I have done Steadicam shots that are indistinguishable from dolly shots, and like they should be.
Yeah.
So when I'm having a conversation with somebody, and they're like, oh, I don't want the like Steadicam look. I'm trying to like understand, well, like, what is that?
What is it that bothers you?
Yeah.
Or ideally, it's like, well, show me something you don't like, and then let's talk about what it is, because again, it depends on what maybe they've had bad Steadicam operators. They've had Steadicam operators who just are good, but the shot was not Steadicam, and they tried to do it. You know?
And I mean that initial supportive structure that was set up, like in the beginning, where Steadicam operators are a brotherhood, hopefully now a sisterhood as well, and we all just like support each other.
Mm-hmm.
The thing I sort of realized, based on what you just said, is like, if someone shows up and kills it and does like amazing Steadicam for somebody, then it's more likely that director is like going to want to use it in the future. It helps us all, right?
It pays it forward, yeah.
Yeah, 100%. So I think the onus is like definitely on us to support each other and try to make everyone as good and as tight as we all can be.
And I think also, like you said, you talked about remote heads and whatever. I think sometimes people go like, I don't want this to be on a remote head. Let's do it on a Steadicam. Mainly because they're like, I don't want to be pushed out of my job,
Yeah.
And it's like, well, no, this is a really slow, purposeful shot. There's not a lot of room. I don't know what the other parameter. This is actually a better remote head shot. And there's no downside in sort of admitting that. Do you know what I mean? It's not a failing. It's like, this is not the tool for everything.
100%.
It's not the perfect tool for everything, and you have to weigh everything and decide what's going on. And it's like, there are times when I've been in it where it's like, this is a remote headshot, and I go, yeah, but here's the thing. I think this actor or this actress needs they need the freedom to be able to do what they need to do, and this dolly in here with this remote head, I don't think is going to give them that. So let's sacrifice a little bit on the exact side for the ability to be free, and whatever. And
which is 100%.
so you have
depending
to factor in all that stuff.
Yes. Yeah. Depending on the type of story you're trying to tell and the look you're going for, and
exactly.
And I mean, hopefully, as camera operators, we can have a little bit of a say in what tool is being used, right? Like, okay, let's talk about the kind of shot that we're trying to achieve, and then now we can have a conversation with the key grip and the dolly grip, and like, how are we going to do this?
How are we going to do this?
Yep.
No, absolutely. So tell me about skydiving. Why do you drop out of planes with it's a parachute, right?
So it was this bucket list thing that I was always interested in, and I went and I made a tandem in 2012 just as a, let's go do this crazy thing and check off the bucket list.
That's where you're like attached to someone's chest?
You're strapped to a guy or gal who really knows what they're doing.
It's like an adult baby Bjorn or something like that.
And you have a few things you need to do to make it safe, but your level of responsibility is almost anyone can do this.
Gotcha. Was it terrifying?
No. It was a little like, I remember when they opened the door for the first time and we were like walking in the door, it was just this total assault on your senses.
It has to be, right?
All your adrenaline is firing on, your body is doing everything it can to like respond to whatever might happen. So you're, when we're hominids, we're running from a tiger.
Well, I was just thinking that like there's that thing of like every sense in you has to go, I don't think this is a good idea.
Well, I just remember this very strange, when we were leaning out of the airplane, it's like this hyper real, like the whole universe is in like ultra high def, like all my senses are just cranked up to the maximum. And I remember the moment we got out of the plane, I was like, oh, I have to do this. I have to like learn how to do this.
Really?
Yeah.
And as someone who's never done this and never will do this, so you jump out of the plane. First of all, is it quiet?
No.
It's okay. You hear the wind going past
Oh
you?
yeah.
Or,
You,
okay.
you lean out of the airplane. The airplane's already going like 90, 100 miles an hour.
Yeah.
So if you can imagine leaning your head out of a car going 100 miles an hour,
Okay.
and then you get out of the plane, and when you jump out of a plane, you're not really accelerating very much. Like the plane's already traveling forward
Okay.
close to the speed that you'll ultimately be traveling straight down. So there's
Oh.
a transference of
Okay.
motion. There's an
Yeah.
arc that occurs.
Yeah.
So super loud. Yeah, in the beginning, it was more like, because I started going for my license in 2016. So it was-
License means you can jump.
that I'm like I can go skydive anytime with my friends. I'm not attached to anybody. I'm
Gotcha.
wearing my own parachute.
Okay.
And in the beginning, as I was working toward my license, it's like this journey of like self-actualization and discovering, okay, what can I do? Oh, I can do this too. Oh, this is a great adventure. And then over time, hundreds and hundreds of jumps later, it becomes more like about like skills building and teamwork. You're literally like flying your body.
How many jumps have you done?
About 800 jumps. Which sounds like a lot.
No, I'm sorry. 800 jumps is a lot.
It sounds like a lot, but like in the skydiving world, like over how long have I been jumping? 7 years, 8 years. It's not a lot. It's like 100 jumps a year.
I'm just gonna flat out say you're wrong. It's a lot, but you can think whatever you want to think. But for people who haven't seen some of the stuff that Neal posts, you're like doing the thing where 8 people are holding on to each other and like you're having tea up in the air and
Yeah.
crazy crap like that.
Yeah, and a lot of the stuff I'm doing now. So the traditional skydiving that everybody is familiar with from movies generally, and when you're starting on skydiving, you're on your belly.
You're on your belly.
Yeah,
meaning-
call it belly flying. So like if I were to lay down on the floor face
Yeah.
down and then sort of flex myself into an arch.
Okay.
Your belly to earth.
Belly to earth. I see. Okay. Yeah.
So
yeah.
that's, which is the perfect position to be in. The parachute's on your back, so you open the parachute, it comes right out. So whatever you're doing on a skydive, you always end up on your belly at the end to let the parachute out.
Okay.
But what I'm more interested in is this much more technical type of body flight called free flying, where we're vertical, so we're operating at much higher wind speeds.
Meaning your feet are straight down and your head is straight up.
Yeah, so we're either head up,
Or
like
one or
with
the other.
our feet are,
Yeah.
are straight down, or we're head down.
I see.
where
As
we're-
opposed to flat to the earth. You're
Exactly.
pinpoint to the earth.
Exactly.
Okay.
So, on your belly, the speeds you're operating at might be 120, 130 miles per hour, maybe.
Yeah.
Head down, it could be 180, 200.
Oh my gosh.
The speeds go way up. But if you
Can you tell the difference between
Oh,
that?
yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
really?
Oh, yeah.
And
So-
and you know that I mean this is ridiculous, but like you know that you're falling. Like do you have a sense that you're falling through?
No.
Okay, that's what I was wondering because the ground is so far away.
It's like Google Maps.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And you really don't get the pit in your stomach very much because of the acceleration thing I was describing.
Yeah.
So if you ever, I encourage everybody not to necessarily jump out of a plane, but if you can ever go to a wind tunnel, an indoor skydiving wind tunnel,
Those things look pretty cool. Actually.
it's amazing.
Yeah.
And that's where we like learn all of our techniques.
Oh, that's
to
where you
take to the
practice.
sky.
Okay.
Because like learning to fly head down, it's not something you're gonna learn to do really in the sky. It'll take you like thousands and thousands of skydives.
It seems mildly unnatural.
It's super weird. It's
Yeah.
super weird. And the reason, I wanted to even maybe talk about it in a camera operating podcast is in a way it has really improved my camera operating,
Really?
especially when it comes to remembering choreography.
Huh.
Or remembering like, okay, here's my cue. I got this cue coming up, and then I got to remember to, make sure that I tilt down as I'm panning so I don't see all the lights or like whatever it is.
Yeah, yeah.
When I'm doing, we call it VFS, vertical formation skydiving.
Okay.
Okay, so if you think of 4 people, either in a wind tunnel or in the sky, it doesn't really matter. And some of us, so 2 of us are head up and 2 of us are head down.
Okay.
And then we build we all build a formation where 2 people head up, 2 people are head down. and then we transition where the head up people go head down.
All together, you're saying, because you're holding on to each other or something like that.
Or maybe we let go of those grips,
Yeah.
and like the head up people transition to head down, and the head down people transition to head up, and then we build it again. And it's fast. You're going like head up, head down, head up, head down. So when you're in a wind tunnel, especially when you're starting out with this, it is bizarre because if like, Ray is on my left and Charlie is on my right, when I go head down, now they're going to be in opposite positions.
Yeah.
And so you've got to remember, like, when I go head down, now Ray's going to be over here. And then when I go head up, now he's on my left again.
So it basically keeps your senses firing.
You are,
all this stuff.
It's very similar. It's a lot of the same brain activity. In a lot of ways, it's like harder than doing Steadicam, I find, because it's sort of, it's just like what we do. Like, when I'm on my head, I'm using like my legs to fly, my arms to fly. I'm putting my body in all these like weird positions, and then I've got to really think with my head, like, okay, I go back head up. Now these people are over here, and on a skydive, I'm trying to do all this as quickly as possible, so that then I'm paying attention to my altitude. Oh, here's 5,000 feet. It's time for me to fly away from these people as fast as I can to get into clean airspace to open a parachute safely.
Good Lord.
So, and like I said, over time with experience, it's just like becoming more and more comfortable with what we do on set. Like, over time, it's like, there's still an element of like, it's a dangerous thing that you can do safely, right? It's just like driving on the freeway. Like, something could go horribly wrong at any minute, but you're
Probably
not
safer than driving on the freeway. Yeah.
Generally speaking. But I guess what I'm saying is, like, on a skydive on the way to altitude, like, you're always taught to close your eyes and visualize everything that's going to happen during the skydive.
Oh, wow.
And you're literally in your mind walking yourself through every point. Like, okay, I'm going to turn to my right. Dave's going to be right there. I'm to grab his right hand with my left hand.
Wow.
And I'm going to flip upside down. Yeah. And this person's going to be right in front of me at that point.
Yeah, which is what you do in between shots, right? You walk through.
Yes.
What can I do better? What did I do wrong?
Yeah, and it sounds crazy to I feel like to some people, to like newer operators to describe this, but I am a huge fan of like closing my eyes and like visualizing every point of the shot.
Yeah, no, I don't know that I close my eyes, but mentally I walk through. And if I do big shots, I will almost always hand off the rig and walk backwards through the shot, because the things that I've recently done are the things that I remember the most, and then as I turn a corner, I'll go, oh God, that's right, that door frame, I want to hold on to that door
This
frame.
is great.
This
is great advice.
Oh, really?
Oh man, because so many times, like, I will, as I'm doing especially a long complex shot, be like, note. I'll be like taking it. I want to fix that. Want to turn that picture frame a little bit. And then by the time I walk back to number one, I've forgotten it all.
I've forgotten it
all.
And
then I notice it again when we're shooting it.
I've forgotten it all the second that I finish the shot, but that's why I walk back through, because visually, backwards. And we're all visual people, I go, oh God, that's right, that doorway there, I forgot that. And but I do know what you mean. It's like, because when I don't do that or when I miss something, I'll go take 9, and it's like, oh, that's the door frame that I didn't want to hit again.
Yeah.
That I just hit again.
Yeah. But it's like, if you know the shot and the dialogue and everything that's going to happen, if you've visualized it in your head, like everything falling into place perfectly, and you know it in and out, like everything that's supposed to happen.
Yep.
I sort of think of it as like when you're watching live theater. Like, sometimes they'll drop a line and we, the audience, don't even know. Yep. They know how to respond and roll with it and fix it. And it's like, if we, as a camera operator, as a part of the dance, if something doesn't quite work, we are all the more ready to respond to it because we know what's supposed to happen. So
perfect.
Yeah, I would say, it's as crazy as it sounds, sort of the visual and body awareness nature of skydiving have in a weird way sort of informed my camera operating. Sounds weird to say, but there it is.
Hey, it is whatever works for you. I'm not going to try it, though. Well, Neal, thank you so much. This has been really fantastic. It's been great talking to you. It took me a while to get you in here, but I'm glad I did. And I'm going to leave you with the question that I leave everybody, which is, new operator, someone who's just starting into operating, a young filmmaker, Neal Bryant when he was 20 and just barely in the union versus Neal Bryant now. What advice for success would you pass on?
Boy, reading the room is a big one. I've been really lucky to be able to watch people that I really admired work and sort of, sponge off of that. So the whole thing of like learning to work with people and being cool under pressure. It's like the thing I kind of learned early on is like you can be great at your job, but if people don't like being with you for 14 hours, you're going to have a really hard time. So I think being as like, open and willing to learn is definitely going to pay dividends for you. I wish someone had told me to learn remote head stuff sooner, because I really started working on that when I knew that my A-camera career was going to take off. But I'm like, if I had had years of practice on wheels and remotes the way I had years of practice on Steadicam before I was given that opportunity, what an easier time I would have had. So I think the more you can get involved with like different workshops. I know the SOC has amazing, crane workshops and things. People generally like want to help you, or at least I would say in my experience, people almost always wanted to help me. If I ask someone for advice or ask someone for their time, they almost always want to give it to you. And I think that's like an amazing thing about our industry, and particularly about operating, is like people love to discuss how they did something or why they did something. So if you can put yourself out there, I think there's a wonderful like community waiting for you.
I hope you enjoyed that as much as I did. We'll be back soon with another great episode. Don't forget to check us out on theop.io for all sorts of information on operating and storytelling. So thanks for listening and have a great day.